Flames erupt from the barrel of the Sherman tank like a dragon's breath, scorching the earth and lighting up the dark caves where Japanese defenders hunker down in terror. It's April 1945, deep in the heart of the Second World War's Pacific Theater, and American boys from farms and cities across the USA are pushing forward on Okinawa, that rugged island fortress standing between them and victory over Japan. The air fills with the roar of engines and the whoosh of fire as U.S. flamethrower tanks charge into the fray, turning hidden bunkers into infernos that force the enemy to recoil in fear. These aren't just machines, they're lifelines for the infantry, crewed by young heroes who know every burst of flame saves their brothers' lives. Imagine the heat, the smoke, the sheer guts it takes to drive straight into hell like that. What would you feel in that moment, staring down death to protect your country? This is the story of how those terrifying U.S. flamethrower tanks broke the back of Japanese resistance on Okinawa, a tale of American courage and sacrifice in World War II that changed the course of the war. Picture the vast Pacific Ocean, dotted with islands that became bloody battlegrounds in WW2. From Pearl Harbor's shocking attack in 1941, which pulled America into the global fight, to the grueling island-hopping campaign led by U.S. forces, every step brings us closer to Okinawa. American soldiers, many just teenagers fresh from basic training, hop from Guadalcanal to Tarawa, then Saipan and Iwo Jima, facing fanatical defenses each time. But Okinawa is different. It's the largest island yet, only 340 miles from Japan's mainland, a perfect staging ground for the final invasion. The U.S. Navy's massive fleet, over 1,300 ships strong, gathers off the coast, carrying the 10th Army. Tough Army divisions like the 7th, 27th, 77th, and 96th, alongside battle-hardened Marine divisions, the 1st, 2nd, and 6th. These men know what's at stake. Capturing Okinawa means airbases for B-29 bombers to pound Japan, shortening the war and saving countless lives back home. As the sun rises on April 1, 1945, Easter Sunday, no less, the invasion kicks off with a thunderous barrage. Naval guns pound the beaches, aircraft scream overhead dropping bombs and napalm, shaking the ground like an earthquake. Landing craft churn through the waves, doors drop, and American troops pour onto Hagushi beaches. Surprisingly, there's little resistance at first. Japanese commanders, under Lieutenant General Mitsuru Ushijima, pull back to fortified lines inland, saving their strength for a brutal attrition war. U.S. forces advance quickly, seizing Kadena and Yomitan airfields within days. Marines push north to secure the Motobu Peninsula, while Army units swing south toward the heart of the island. But soon, the real fight begins. Japanese soldiers dig into caves, tombs, and pillboxes carved into coral ridges, turning the landscape into a deadly maze. Every hill becomes a fortress, every valley a kill zone. Enter the heroes of the 713th Flame-Throwing Tank Battalion, a unit born from the 11th Armored Division but reshaped for this fiery mission. Back in Hawaii at Schofield Barracks, these guys convert standard M4 Sherman tanks into flame-spewing beasts. They install Ronson-type flamethrowers right into the 75mm gun barrels, pumping out thickened fuel, napalm, at high pressure, with a range of 80 to 100 yards. It's ingenious work, overseen by Seabees and chemical warfare experts, turning ordinary tanks into weapons that can flush out entrenched enemies without sending infantry in close. The battalion, led by Lieutenant Colonel Thomas L. McCrary, ships out with 54 of these modified Shermans, ready to support both Army and Marine assaults. These tankers aren't glory seekers, they're everyday Americans, like Private First Class Joe Harlan from a small Texas ranch, who writes home to his mom about the transformation. "Ma, they've turned our tanks into fire-breathing monsters. It's scary as all get out, but if it means I get back to you sooner, I'll drive it through anything." Joe's letters, scribbled in the dim light of a tent, capture the mix of fear and resolve that fuels these men. As U.S. forces push south, they hit the outer defenses of the Shuri Line, a network of ridges like Kakazu and Maeda, names that will echo in American military history. Japanese troops, fiercely loyal and dug in deep, unleash mortar fire, machine guns, and artillery from hidden positions. Infantry advances stall, with soldiers pinned down in mud and rock. That's when the flamethrower tanks roll in. On April 19, amid a massive U.S. offensive, the 713th's Company A attaches to the 96th Infantry Division assaulting Kakazu Ridge. The tanks rumble forward, treads grinding over debris, as flames shoot out in great arcs, engulfing cave entrances and forcing Japanese defenders to scramble. The terror is palpable. Reports from captured prisoners later reveal how the sight of these fire-belching machines shatters morale, making even the staunchest fighters hesitate. One tanker, Sergeant Mike Donnelly from Chicago, recalls in a letter to his sweetheart, "We hit that ridge hard today, flames lighting up the night like the 4th of July. The enemy runs or hides deeper, but we keep coming. Miss you more than words, but knowing you're waiting keeps me going." What would you write home if you were in Mike's boots, facing that chaos? The fighting intensifies. At Tombstone Ridge, part of the deadly escarpment, American medics and infantrymen like Frank Sadowski from Chicago show incredible bravery. Frank, a young medic with the 382nd Infantry, throws himself over a wounded buddy amid machine gun fire, taking bullets to save a life. His sacrifice inspires the tank crews nearby, who push their flamethrowers to clear paths for the advance. The 713th's tanks work in teams, one providing cover fire while another closes in to unleash hell on pillboxes. By May, they're burning through thousands of gallons of napalm daily, clearing villages like Gadja and High Ground near Zebra Hill. In one push, a single tank from Company B takes out over 100 enemy positions, its flames snaking into tunnels where no man dares go. The Japanese, terrified by this unrelenting fire, dub these tanks devils on tracks. But American soldiers cheer them on, knowing each burst means fewer buddies lost. Personal bonds forge in this furnace. Take Corporal Eddie Ramirez from California, a driver in the 713th. In letters to his little brother, he describes the brotherhood, "We're like family in here, kid. Hot, cramped, but we look out for each other. Yesterday, we saved a whole platoon by torching a cave full of snipers. Pray for us, it's tough, but we're winning." Eddie's words remind us of the human side of WW2, these young men far from home, drawing strength from letters and memories. As the battle drags on, monsoon rains turn the island into a quagmire, mud sucking at boots and treads alike. Tanks bog down, but crews improvise, winching them free under fire. The psychological toll mounts. Japanese kamikaze planes dive from the skies, slamming into ships offshore, but on land, it's the caves that haunt. Flamethrower operators know the risk. Close range means exposure to counterfire, yet they press on. By mid-May, the Shuri line cracks under relentless pressure. U.S. artillery hammers away, aircraft drop more napalm, and the flamethrower tanks lead assaults on key hills like Sugarloaf and Conical. Marines from the 6th Division fight house to house in Naha's ruins, supported by the 713th's fire support. One epic moment comes when a platoon from Company C advances on a fortified ridge, flames arcing over 100 yards to seal cave mouths. The terror grips the defenders. Some emerge, hands up, a rare sight in this no-surrender war. But the cost is high. Tanks hit mines, take anti-tank rounds, and crews evacuate under hailstorms of bullets. Colonel McCrary himself gets wounded, yet the battalion fights on, racking up kills and captures that stun even seasoned commanders. Think about young Private Tim O'Brien from Ohio, a loader in one of those tanks. His letters home paint vivid pictures. The flame jumps out like a living thing, Ma. It scares me too, but it works. We took a hill today that would have cost hundreds without it. Tell Dad I'm okay, just tired. Tim's story echoes thousands, ordinary boys becoming heroes. As June approaches, the Japanese retreat to the Kian Peninsula, their lines crumbling. The 713th pushes south, flames clearing the way for the final offensive. Marines capture Shuri Castle on May 29, a symbolic blow, but fighting rages on. General Simon Bolivar Buckner Jr., commanding the 10th Army, falls to artillery fire on June 18, a reminder of war's randomness. Yet American resolve holds. In the closing days, flamethrower tanks seal the fate of remaining pockets. By June 22, organized resistance ends, with Ushijima committing seppuku. The 713th's tally: 4,788 Japanese killed, 49 captured, using over 200,000 gallons of napalm. U.S. losses are staggering, over 12,000 dead, including Navy, Army, and Marines, but Okinawa falls, paving the way for victory. The flamethrower tanks prove invaluable, saving lives and striking terror into the enemy. Reflect on the sacrifices, boys like Joe, Mike, Eddie, and Tim, their letters home a testament to courage. What would you have done, facing those caves? Their brotherhood and bravery defined the American spirit in World War II. But wait, the battle's not over yet. As the last caves burn and smoke rises over the ridges, a fresh wave of Japanese counterattacks looms, threatening to turn the tide in one desperate push. The American lines strain, tanks low on fuel, men exhausted, and the enemy gathers for what could be their final stand. Hold on, the climax is coming, and it's going to test every ounce of U.S. grit. The counterattack hits like a storm. Japanese troops, driven by unyielding loyalty, surge from hidden positions under cover of night, their banzai charges echoing across the muddy fields. American sentries spot shadows moving in the dark, and alarms blare. The 713th's tanks, positioned on the front lines, rev up their engines, flames ready to light the way. One crew, led by Lieutenant Sam Whitaker from New York, hunkers in their Sherman, listening to the approaching footsteps. Sam's letter to his wife days earlier reads, "Darling, the nights are the worst. You hear them coming, and all you can do is wait. But we've got the fire on our side now." As the assault begins, flames shoot out, illuminating charging figures and stopping them cold. The terror spreads, Japanese soldiers falter, some turning back into the caves they once held so fiercely. In the chaos, infantry and tanks work as one. Marines from the 1st Division hold the line, rifles blazing, while flamethrower tanks advance to seal breaches. At Oroku Peninsula, where Japanese naval forces make a stand, the 6th Marine Division calls in the 713th for support. Tanks roll through swamps, flames arcing into bunkers built from coral and concrete. Private First Class Billy Hayes from Georgia, a gunner, writes home about it. "Pop, we hit him hard last night. Flames everywhere, like the devil himself. Saved a bunch of our guys. Missed the farm, but this is what matters." Billy's quick thinking saves his crew when a satchel charge explodes nearby, but they keep firing. What courage it takes. Would you steady your hand in that inferno? The fighting drags into June, with monsoon rains turning everything to sludge. Tanks slip and slide, but crews adapt, using winches and sheer willpower. Japanese defenses, though terrified by the flames, fight on with everything: mines, artillery, even hand-to-hand. One tank from Company A gets stuck near Itoman, its crew bailing out under fire only to remount and blast a pillbox that pinned down an entire company. The operator, Corporal Hank Lewis from Pennsylvania, later pens, "Sis, thought that was it for us today. Mud up to the turret, bullets pinging off the armor. But we got her going and lit up that nest. For the boys back home." Hank's story highlights the ingenuity of these American soldiers, turning potential disaster into triumph. As the net tightens, personal tales of sacrifice emerge. Like Marine Bill Rutledge's buddies from Florida, Charlie and Tim, who storm ridges only for Charlie to fall instantly, Tim losing an arm but surviving. Their letters stop abruptly, but their memory fuels the push. Or Frank Sadowski, the medic on Tombstone Ridge, shielding a comrade with his body. These acts inspire tankers to drive deeper, flames clearing paths where heroes fell. By June 13th, Japanese sailors in tunnels on Kian commit mass suicide, their positions engulfed by U.S. fire. The 713th's tanks lead the final sweeps, sealing caves and ensuring no holdouts remain. Victory comes on June 22nd, but not without heartbreak. General Buckner's death shakes the command, yet Major General Roy Geiger takes over seamlessly, then Joseph Stilwell. The island secures, airfields buzz with American planes, and the path to Japan's surrender opens. The flamethrower tanks, those terrifying weapons, prove key. Japanese prisoners confess the flames broke their will like nothing else. Over 94,000 Japanese dead, but American losses hit hard: 12,500 killed, thousands wounded. Civilians suffer too, caught in the crossfire, but U.S. forces show compassion where possible, offering aid amid the ruins. Reflecting on it, the boys of the 713th and their infantry brothers embody WW2's finest. Letters home, like those from Joe, Mike, Eddie, Tim, Billy, and Hank, weave a tapestry of emotion, Fear, love, pride. They fought not for glory, but for each other and the folks waiting stateside. Okinawa's capture shortens the war, leading to the atomic bombs and VJ Day. These flamethrower tanks, born of American innovation, strike terror but save lives, a proud chapter in the Second World War. Imagine penning your own letter after such a battle. What words would capture the soul of it all? Yet, as celebrations begin and troops eye home, whispers of a new threat emerge. Holdout Japanese units, refusing surrender, launch guerrilla strikes from forgotten caves. The island's not fully pacified, and one massive ambush could undo everything. Tension builds, the final test of American resolve is here, and it's do or die. Guerrilla warfare erupts in pockets across southern Okinawa. Japanese stragglers, terrified but defiant, emerge from hidden tunnels to harass supply lines and patrols. U.S. forces, weary from months of combat, must root them out. The 713th's flamethrower tanks, now legends among the troops, lead mopping up operations. One night, near Mabuni, a tank platoon spots movement, dozens of shadows creeping toward an ammo dump. Flames ignite the darkness, revealing the attackers and sending them scattering. Driver Sergeant Al Thompson from Michigan writes to his dad, "Pa, thought the big fights were over, but these holdouts keep coming. Our fire scares them off quick. Can't wait to fish with you again." Al's vigilance saves the day, his tanks burst turning ambush into rout. In these final skirmishes, bonds deepen. Marines and Army boys share stories around campfires, letters flowing home with tales of close calls. Private Lee Collins from North Carolina scribbles during a lull. "Mom, saw planes going down today, but our tanks held the line. Flames lit up the sky. Praying for peace soon." Lee's optimism mirrors the troops' spirit. As holdouts dwindle, captured Japanese speak of the terror those tanks instilled, calling them unstoppable. By late June, resistance crumbles fully, the island secure. Okinawa stands as a testament to American heroism in WW2. The flamethrower tanks of the 713th, with their fiery might, terrify the enemy and protect our own, a key to victory in the Pacific theater. From D-Day landings to the Battle of the Bulge in Europe, U.S. forces show the world what freedom costs. These young men, their letters, sacrifices, brotherhood, remind us why we prevailed. Proud, respectful, emotional, that's the legacy. What legacy would you leave in their shoes? The war ends soon after, but their stories live on, eternal flames of courage.